27-year-old housewife who works part-time. I got married to Sean, who is 3 years older than me, 2 years ago, and we moved in with his parents. We actually planned to enjoy our newlywed life with just the two of us, but his mother was obsessed with him, so moving in with them was the requirement for our marriage. We did move in with them, but things turned out in a way that I expected. Actually, I wasn't able to take the entrance exam for high school because I got badly injured when I was in 9th grade. To be honest, I got too excited going snowboarding with my family and I broke my arms and my legs. Yeah, that was a hard time in life. After I fully recovered, I decided to pursue what I loved and got a job. So my final educational background is in middle school. In contrast, my family-in-law were all elites, and all of them are graduates from famous universities. They value people's educational backgrounds and look down on me, who's only a middle school graduate, whenever they have the chance to. Sean told me, educational backgrounds don't matter. I fell in love with your personality. But... Paige, you have to fold the laundry properly. You really can't learn no matter how many times I teach you. That's why I don't trust middle school graduates. I think I folded the laundry in the way you taught me, though. Here, look at this. I told you to align the opposite corners. Why can't you do something so easy? What an underachieving wife you are. Okay. I took a closer look after she told me so, and turns out the corners of the towel were just millimeters apart. I was tired of my mother-in-law who points out the smallest things triumphantly. And I found water droplets on the sink as well. I told you to keep it flawless. I cleaned everything just now. I think you were the one who used it after I cleaned it. When I point something out, she would just argue back 10 times harsher. Are you telling me I made it dirty? You're talking back to me although you're my son's wife? This is why I don't like middle school graduates without sufficient education. Talking back to your mother-in-law? Ugh, what an undereducated girl you are! Whenever she has the chance to, she would insult me, saying I'm just a middle school graduate with a poor background. My parents-in-law both used to work outside, and I've heard they've been hiring a housekeeper to do the housework. But after I moved in with them, they forced me to do all the housework. And because of that, I had to change my full-time job into part-time. For my beloved Sean, I thought I'd do anything to maintain a good relationship with his parents and had been working hard, but when they keep on complaining like this, I start to get tired of them. If it was just my mother-in-law, it might have been better, but my father-in-law and my sister-in-law who come home sometimes also pressured me like this. So I was getting tired of all this. The other day, my sister-in-law visited to eat dinner with us after work. Oh, this dish is pretty good. Did Paige cook this? Yeah, I'm glad you like it. As expected from a middle school graduate, you're good at cooking. I've always been busy studying, you know. I was so busy with my job after I graduated, I had no time to waste on housework and cooking. Oh, okay, I see. I don't think there's a correlation between me being a middle school graduate and cooking.
Right! Women these days should also graduate from university and devote themselves to their job. Housework's for the inferior women who have no educational background to do. Sean, you've chosen such an old-fashioned wife.
Well, it's true that I didn't graduate from university, but are you calling me inferior? I don't have a high educational background, but before I got married, I worked harder than anyone else. These people were treating me like a housewife. You're very lucky that you got to join an elite family like us. Both my husband and I work for a large corporation. Yeah, I've heard that a million times. You're very proud of graduating from university and working for a top-tier company. Maybe you don't understand, Paige. Your parents own a business, right? I met them at your wedding, but they looked pretty lousy. A bit different from a fancy bloodline like ours. They looked underwhelming. Ugh! They could look down on me as much as they want, but how dare they look down on my parents as well? My parents were always supportive of me all my life. It's true my parents own a business, but they have a lot of employees working for them. I don't understand why you call that underwhelming.
Oh, so your family business is trying to fight against a large company like ours? Even a kid would understand the difference between a top-tier company and a family-owned business. I'm so embarrassed of how much knowledge you lack, Paige.
Oh, Paige, you're such a stupid and incompetent wife. A little girl who doesn't know her position. Seeing the three of them laugh at me, I was trembling with rage. How horrible! They feel triumphant looking down on people. I don't want to accept them as my family, although they might just be my in-laws. But what made me mad the most was that Sean also laughed at me alongside his family. Sean was laughing at me with them right now. When we got married, he would protect me and argue back to his family, but he gradually got taken over, I guess. Now he would laugh at me with his family. I thought we fell in love after we met each other in a club at our shared hobby. Got married, madly in love with each other.
I'll cherish you for the rest of my life. Even if my family disagrees to our marriage, my love for you will never change. I don't care about your educational background. I fell in love with your personality.
Sean! I love you too, Sean! That was long ago. Who was in front of me right now was Sean looking down on me with his family. A few days later. That day, Sean came home late from work and he seemed a bit irritated. As soon as he came home, he complained to me that I forgot to put his handkerchief inside his suit pocket. Huh? Can you do that yourself? Then he continued to make complaints about other stuff as well.
Hey, Paige! I need you to take housework more seriously. Not just me, but you also have to take good care of my parents.
Huh? I didn't get married to look after your family.
How about you quit your part-time job and focus on housework? And I think I want to have children. You made the decision to join our family, so you have to fulfill your duty as a wife.
Wait a minute, I'm not a housemaid, and what do you mean by my duty as a wife? Hey Sean, I didn't get married to be your family's housemaid. What do you mean by my duty as your wife? I married you because I loved you and wanted to stay with you. I want you to respect my life too. I also think your parents are being too harsh on me. Can you talk to them for me? I let out all the frustration I've been having. Then Sean looked taken aback for a second, but quickly burst out laughing and said,
Hey, are you still dreaming or what? You get married to protect your husband's household, right? The wife is worthy because they can give birth. And you even want to talk to my parents? Who do you think you are? You're a middle school graduate, but how come you're so bossy?
I couldn't believe Sean felt that way too. Where is Sean, the guy I used to love? I've been enduring all this because I thought we loved each other, but I don't think I can survive at this house any longer. I've had enough. I can't believe you're also looking down on me because I'm a middle school graduate.
Because it's the truth. You're a middle school graduate and you can't change that.
Hearing Sean say that, I shut myself in the bedroom. I think we're over. My lovely dog Tim was the only one who would try to make me feel better. Tim joined us after my boss from my part-time job let him go, and he was only attached to me, which made him so cute. My family-in-law opposed the idea of having a low-level creature like a dog in our house, but I persuaded them, saying that I would look after him. The only one on my side inside this house was Tim. I guess he sensed how I was feeling, and he would snuggle up to me. A few days later, it was a weekend, so my parents-in-law, sister-in-law, and Sean were still at home. Since that day, Sean and I were awkward around each other, and they called us to the living room.
Paige, we heard from Sean. Looks like you were being very bossy.
Okay. Gosh, Sean, how dare he tell his dad about it? And so we had some family discussions, and I think a middle school graduate like you just doesn't deserve to be in our family. So I will arrange a marriage for Sean with a university graduate. Huh? I don't understand. You're so stupid.
Well, we can't help it. She's a middle school graduate. I'm gonna marry someone else. So I'm divorcing you.
Huh? What are these people saying? They made such an important decision without saying a thing to me?
You get the idea. We don't need a wife who's a middle school graduate. Leave with your dog.
Yup, leave our house with that filthy dog. Huh, come and fight me. Who wants to stay at a house like this? Okay, I'll leave as you wish. I got furious and left the house with Tim. Who do they think they are? They better not look down on the determination of a middle school graduate. I'll get my revenge someday for sure. They better be prepared. Tim was looking at me worriedly as I made up my mind. It's fine. Let's go back to my parents' house. I bet Mom will love you, Tim.
Wow! Wow!
At my parents' house, my parents welcomed me and Tim warmly when we got back home. I didn't say anything because you seemed to be in love with Sean, but I knew his family were going to be horrible to you. I can't believe they treated my lovely Paige that way. I should teach him. Mom, it's all about the past now, so don't worry. and I promised myself that I'd get revenge on them one day. After that, Sean paid me some money as a settlement fee and we got a divorce. According to a rumor, I heard he had an arranged marriage. In contrast, I got my full-time job back at the place where I used to work part-time. Actually, I work as a chef at a restaurant. I trained hard at different restaurants since I was in my teens. And I used to work as the chief at this expensive French restaurant before I got married. I met Sean at the French language club. Well, I'm so happy that I'm back in this cooking industry where I love. 10 years later, after a decade, I finally opened my own restaurant, which had always been my dream. Fortunately, my restaurant was doing very well and I was busy every day. Thanks to that, I had completely forgotten about Sean. But one day when I was checking the reservation list, I found Sean's full name. It looks like he had booked a private room for an arranged marriage. I thought he already got remarried. It looks like there's some backstory. I got curious, so I decided to visit the room where he was dining. Thank you for choosing us today. Did you enjoy our meal? When I opened the door, I found Sean and his parents, whom I disliked.
It was pretty good. Wait, what?
Long time no see.
Why are you here, Paige?
This is my restaurant. Huh? Don't be ridiculous. How can a middle school graduate like you own such a fancy restaurant? Here she comes again. She's looking down on my educational background again. I ignored her and continued. The name of the restaurant is Restaurant Panicore, which comes from my name. After I said that, it seemed like my ex-parents-in-law and ex-sister-in-law finally realized that this was actually my own restaurant.
Really? Is this really your restaurant?
It looked like Sean still had trouble believing that. I heard you already got remarried, but I thought you were having an arranged marriage today. Don't tell me you got another divorce.
Nah. My ex-wife had a university degree, but she had too much pride, and she didn't do any housework. You were no use because you were a middle school graduate, so I thought a high school graduate would be just right.
Oh, are you sure you want to say that here? Your future wife seems pretty mad at you. Huh? You told me you've only got a divorce once. You've been through 2 divorces? Gosh, what do you mean you think a high school graduate is just right? I don't want to be a housemaid. Don't be so ridiculous. Then she stood up and left the room. I guess you were lying about the number of marriages you've been through.
Hey, it's because you told her the unnecessary details that she ran away.
No, you were the one who revealed it. And at the next moment, his mother said something unbelievable. Hey, Paige, I bet you make a lot of money being the owner of this restaurant. We'll forget what happened in the past. So how about you come back to us? Huh? Oops, you're bad. Looks like you missed your opportunity. I've already gotten remarried, and I even have a child. Becoming your daughter-in-law again? Oh, don't make me laugh. Enough with the jokes. I never want to go back there again. Spare me. Yep, actually, I got remarried to Paul, the owner of the French restaurant I was talking about. The owner decided to go back to France, but he proposed to me saying that he couldn't go back leaving me and Tim. 5 years ago, I gave birth to our daughter Pam, and we live very happily now.
You married a Frenchman? Despite being a middle school graduate?
I'm tired of that joke. For the past 10 years while I was working hard, it looks like they didn't learn a thing.
Hey, Paige, after you left, our house was a mess. Mom and Dad are having trouble at work.
Oh, actually, my mom pulled some strings from the back. We own a family business, but we make a very rare product for some big companies at our local factory. My brother works as the developer, and it's so popular that international brands want it too. But after what happened 10 years ago, my mom was furious and stopped providing our products to the company where my ex-parents-in-law worked. When the company found out the reason was them, they obviously got the punishment they deserved. Well, they should be thankful that my mom didn't do something worse despite making her mad.
Things aren't going well for me either. And my sister also got betrayed by a guy, and she's now in a lot of debt. We hit rock bottom in life, and now I work multiple jobs night and day.
Actually, Sean was smart, but he's not the flexible type suited for work. And in the case of my ex-sister-in-law, I honestly think she deserved it too.
And I have a favor to ask. If your restaurant's doing well, can I borrow money from you?
What a joke! Just leave after paying the bills. I asked 5 of my most bulky employees and made them leave my restaurant. Like this, I kicked the 4 of them out of my restaurant. Never show me your face again. I never want to see them again.
Paige!
Sean was weeping and begging, but it's none of my business. Saw their miserable faces. I feel so refreshed. After I got off work, I told my parents at home what happened that day. Oh, what a hilarious story. Those who always look down upon others get punished.
You never planned it, but it looks like you got revenge after 10 years.
Yeah, I never expected the ending myself, but I guess you reap what you sow.
Reap what you sow? English is hard.
It's fine, Dad. Mrs. Pam will teach you.
As expected from Pam. You're fluent in French too, right?
I left those days like a nightmare in the past, and now I live very happily. Yeah, and Tim is doing great too. After my dad made an Instagram called Tim and Peter, it went viral. And now he's an influencer with over 1 million followers.
Thank you for watching! What kind of crazy people will we get to see next? Stay tuned for more!